Hello, fellow Star Wars fans, and welcome to my comic book reviews for the week of December 15th. We have two High Republic issues to talk about, one from Marvel, one from IDW. Let's just jump right in, right? To Marvel's The High Republic issue number 12. That is a pretty striking image of Lorna D of the Nile with a green lightsaber. We know that is Keith Trennis's lightsaber she retrieves. So this issue picks up about a couple weeks after the events of what happened in issue number 12. We do get flashbacks to the resolution of issue number 12, but first we get a really cool look at the Starlight Beacon and about how it's now able to completely travel through space to different planets. We didn't know it had that capability, or at least we haven't seen a capability in any of the stories yet, so that's really cool. But this part of the story that's beginning really catches us up with the now and where are these characters. So we have Tarek and Sarah, those Force Bond twins. Unfortunately, after the events of issue number 12, they have been turned to stone from the Leveler, the same kind of device that was used against Loden Greatstorm in the Rising Storm. Then you have Keith Trennis, who wasn't turned to stone, but she was in the vicinity of the Leveler and is really getting over her feelings of grief and kind of depression because she was sort of maybe liable for having Lorna D get away from Avar Kriss, who was trying to hold her back through the Force when her ship was trying to get out of there. And well, unfortunately, Lorna D got away. You also have Master Skier. Master Skier at this point in time has been feeling very weird. We learn what exactly is going on there later on in an issue. And of course, Avar Kriss is very much wanting to be on the offensive against the Nile. She's one of the forerunners to be like, hey, look, we got to take the attack back to them. We have to get vengeance and avenge those fallen at Valo at that attack from the horrible Nile. So you have all these different characters in different places, and this story is really kind of like setting the table for what's to come in issue number 13. There's a lot of really interesting things, or issue number 14. There's a lot of interesting things. No, it would be 13. There's a lot of interesting things going on in this issue. We got a lot of flashbacks to seeing Keith Trennis like feeling like she failed because she couldn't help Avar Kriss at the time because she was kind of shattered. Her mind was shattered from the whole Leveler beast. But it's really interesting to see that the character of Master Skier, we get to figure out exactly what's going on with him. He has something called Magrak syndrome, which affects some Trandoshans, which they basically go back to their bloodthirsty ways no matter how educated and cultured they are. There's a certain thing that ticks and it drives them into their aggression state. Unfortunately, when this happens, those that have Force sensitivity start to lose that over time. So that is exactly what's happened with Skier. He was let loose at that one point at that battle, and Avar Kriss had since taken the saber away from him and said, look, we have to get the council to figure out what's going on with you, but right now we cannot have an unhinged Trandoshan just ticking away like a time bomb to just turn into a bloodthirsty creature. So unfortunately, he's kind of out of the picture for now, but Keith Trennis is feeling some kind of sorrow for him. And then at the same time, we get a kind of developments going on with where the Nile are, where Lorna D is. They had recovered some kind of scout vehicle that had a path engine that had the coordinates still to the main base of the Nile, which they didn't know about before, which was No-Space, as we've seen in Light of the Jedi and Rising Storm. It's like a platform with like a force energy bubble. So it's very cool, very striking kind of villainy kind of location. So that is where they're heading next. On the Ataraxia, we have Avar Kriss, we have Keith Trennis, and Master Skier is actually coming with them, because Keith Trennis kind of begged Avar to take him with them. So that is where the story so far resides in the High Republic as of issue number 12. So what do you guys think of this one? Let me know in the comment section down below. So the next one we have here is Star Wars The High Republic Adventures Annual 2021, and unfortunately it's going to be the only annual this series gets, because we know with issue, I think 14 in February will be the last one before maybe we'll get a new version of this through Dark Horse. So what's really cool about this issue is it's really kind of an anthology celebrating the different writers of the High Republic. We have Charles Soule, we have Justina Ireland, we have Claudia Graay, we have Daniel Jose Older, we have Cavan Scott. All of the architects for the High Republic have a short story in this one revolving around some of the characters they've already played around with in the High Republic. So we're going to just go right through the list here. We have Set for Life from Charles Soule, deals with the Blade of Bardata. It deals with the character of Loden Greatstorm. It deals with the character of Bel Zettifar. They're all on Ephronia. And his current master now in the timeline of Bel Zettifar's master, I forget what her name is. Forgive me for that. But basically, Loden Greatstorm and Bel-Zettifar have to go into this mine to help this guy out in need. And the guy, of course, is being greedy. He wants to get this last little mineral out of there, even though it's going to risk his own life. But we still see that Loden's Greatstorm is very strong in the force and able to hold up this entire rock wall from collapsing. And it's just a really nice story that kind of like makes it even more poignant when we see Loden Greatstorm die. How great of a connection to that bond between Bel-Zettifar and Loden Greatstorm was. And it was really cool because we get to see a Vanguard, what that looks like. Remember, we heard about that in Light of the Jedi. It's a different kind of vehicle for the Jedi. It has speeder bikes in it and stuff like that. So very cool stuff there. We also have No Stone Unturned from Claudia Graay. We have the characters of Afi Hollow and Leox, and that was a fun adventure. They're smugglers at this point, just taking jobs. They have to go get this, valuable artifact, and apparently they get it. And where this issue picks up, the story picks up, is they're already on the run back to their ship with all these crazy people trying to track them down to get them. So long story short, Afi says, "Oh, why don't we just get the blaster and shoot him or something?" And Leox has a heart, says, "No, we got to do something else. That's not right to just kill these people." He ends up giving them back the stone, and then they get out of there. So they don't actually make money, but it shows that they have hearts. The next one we have is first mission from Justina Ireland. We have the origin story of Vernestra Rowe, and it's pretty cool because we get to see her as a Padawan. And we get to see just different characters here in this place called Hynestia, and her master, Selengios. It's their first adventure, so they go to this place where there's these huts there, and there's supposed to be like this broker of peace and everything like that. And the Hutt set it up. Of course, Jabba the Hutt's there, and Jabba the Hutt sets it up so it looks like he's going to get poisoned so he can retaliate. And it was all set up, and Stellan and Vernestra see through that and thwart that. And it's a really cool thing because we also get to see a new kind of Keldor female Jedi Master. Her name is Master Lynella, so I like to see that as well. This other story is really cool. It's called Crash and the Crew Do What They Do. It's from Daniel Hazelder, and it's about this new character named Crash, who I believe is the inspiration of this character came from the Dr. Aphra writer, which is Alyssa Crash Wong on Twitter. So that's really cool. We got this new Asian character in Star Wars who is pretty much like the protection or the security officer, the leader of all the people that protect the Grand Chancellor of Lena So, who travels to Corellia. So it's about her coordinating to her team on the ground and the air about like how to protect the Chancellor, because what we have is we have one of these Nihil operatives, or at least I believe he could be Nihil's, Respiller. He was in a previous issue of Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, and he is lighting out these scav droids, and it's up to the character of Crash to kind of get rid of these things right away. But apparently it's a little bit too late, because at the end of this story, we have the character of Sabata, who we had also seen in the previous issue of the High Republic Adventures. This is just part of the plan. Remember, Corellia is in the core. The Nihil now are reaching for the core. Remember, they were just in the outer rim. They maybe got into the mid rim a little bit. It's a pretty big deal when they're in the core now. So we're going to see what happens there. Last story we have here is The Hall, written, of course, by Cavan Scott. And we have this character that is basically a Nihil character that's being greedy, wants to get this artifact, and Lorna D shows up and tries to take the credit, and he's getting all offended by that. And then as he gets close to this item, who shows up but the Blade of Bardota himself, and, well, he pretty easily handles the scav droids and all the Nihil, and Lorna D runs away like she always does, and unfortunately, this poor sod of the Nihil has to deal with the Blade of Bardota and has to get sent back to the Starlit Beacon and put in jail. So that was basically the entire rundown of all the stories in the High Republic Adventures Annual. I like how some of the stories were just like one-offs, or they were just like, previously in the timeline. But then you have some of these stories, like, for instance, like No Stone Unturned, it's mentioned that they have to go pick up somebody from Starlight. So I think that, some of these adventures like that one, like Crash and the Crew Do What They Do, definitely huge implications on the future, because I know there's some stuff happening with some of the excerpts that were released or synopsis released for the future books where things are going to happen on Corellia. So it's definitely stuff that's going to lead into that, as well as The Hall as well. I feel like that could be more in the contemporary timeline with Lorna D and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of fun in the High Republic this week. Next week, we have another High Republic story, Trail of Shadows, issue number 3. I believe we're also getting Darth Vader issue number 14. as well as what is it going to be called? The Star Wars Adventures number 13 or something like that. So there's a lot to look forward to next week. What was your favorite Star Wars The High Republic story this week? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you haven't seen already, I have a breakdown of the new High Republic game coming out, Star Wars Eclipse. Make sure you check that out, as well as subscribe to the channel so you never miss on any other videos. Also, go ahead and subscribe to Outer Rim Transmission, my podcast where I go weekly talking with my friends about anything going on in Star Wars. So that's going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.